Welcome one and all to the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. Today's episode 18. The true lingua franca is pretty anime girls. My name is Louie, and I can't think of anything funny to say, so I'm going to leave it to your imagination. I'm joined with my co-host.
Like the most interesting man in the world, I too can speak English in Japanese.
Tom.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to... I can't do that for all episodes. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's very bad.
I can justify it because I had to teach them how to speak English, and I had to deal with that accent for 3.5 years. All right, get over it.
Yeah.
I have suffered it, so now you shall too.
So for anyone new to the podcast, we do two main topics. So the first one is just things we've been interested in, things we've read, things we've seen, things we've listened to in the past week. Or, depending on the episode, the past few weeks, depending on when the episodes come out.
But not this week.
But not
so
this
that
week.
Was excess. Thanks.
Our
Thanks for adding that in the episode where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just in case. You skipped
Just
a
in
few.
case. Just in case I get real lazy and not do an episode. You know,
Just 'cause
like
you
I
feel
do
like
with the YouTube. Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Haha. Yes. They'll get up there eventually.
Note to self, edit in the "it's my fault" that Louis said last week again.
Exactly. So our other main topic for this week is Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feeling in Russian, Volume 1. We're going to talk about that. And that's the light novel. I don't think there's a manga version.
There is a manga version. It's not available in English, and it may have only just started, although there was a one-shot at some point. There's also an anime. It's going to cover the first, I think, 4 episodes, but I haven't seen it. We're talking specifically about the light novels, though.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
So, what have you been up to, Louis?
So I read a bunch in the last week. So
Oh, boy.
It counteracts my last episode where I read, I think, 2 things.
I mean, I was going to make fun of it. I was like, oh, wow, you've read a lot. You've read 5 books, and then I've looked at your list and like, oh, okay, you've actually kind of read a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So first I read Frieren 13.
Yep.
It's good. I liked the 2 arcs. I think the end of the Go Back in Time one was kind of like, I wasn't a huge fan of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, this is kind of weird because going back in time, things are always kind of odd. But the setup for the next arc looks really interesting. I think that will play into the more of the politics of the world, and especially of, okay, all these mages seem super powerful. How do you not die instantly if you fight them? And I think that's going to be the main thing for the next one.
Yeah. And the secret shadow people that have started to show up, those have been interesting so far every time. Mm-hmm. And this one book that they've shown up in has been interesting the 2 times.
Yeah. And then there's volume 14, but then I don't think there's volume 15 yet. So when 14 comes out, there's going to be quite a while before the next one.
Yeah, we're finally caught up to pretty much the series as it is, I think.
Yeah, so volume 14 is coming, but there's... Because I think they went on hiatus for a little bit. Or they're still on hiatus. And it has been announced that season 2 is January of next year. Of the anime.
Okay.
But then I also read a new one called, new for me, called Dinosaur Sanctuary. I read volume 1 and 2. So think of a story about a zookeeper, a new zookeeper, goes to a new zoo. They're learning all the ropes, how different animals behave, kind of how you interact with the people at the zoo, things like that. That's the story, except it's dinosaurs. And yeah, so it's a zoo of dinosaurs, and you follow one of the main zookeepers who's just starting out. There's some more backstory about that. But it's interesting because they also brought in a specialist in dinosaurs, like from Tokyo, I think it's Tokyo University.
It would make sense, yeah.
And he has a blurb at the end of every chapter about just talking about this is how dinosaurs moved based on their bones, this is how things are studied, this is how animals behave, this is how we interpret things from animals that are alive today to how dinosaurs could have been. So there's a lot of information about dinosaurs if you're really into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's cool. There's definitely more than 2. I don't remember exactly how many. It's interesting. So if you like dinosaurs, you like this. If you're interested in the idea of a story about zookeepers. This is pretty much the same thing, except it's dinosaurs. Yeah, but no, it's cool. I really like it. I read the first one, then immediately went out and got the second one. So yeah,
Cool.
So then I read Elden Ring Volume 3. This is still the same Elden Ring volumes that you've known and loved. It's definitely... It's not as goofy as the first one was, just because of how things are, but it still has that same, like, snide comments every now and then. Him just ragging on everybody. It's like, this is so stupid. Why is it like this? But, so he goes to Caelid, immediately turns around and leaves. It's like, I'm not doing this.
Of course. Okay.
He then goes to Ray Lucaria.
Makes more sense.
And then meets the guy who was kicked out of the school.
Okay, yep.
Who always asks for money. And there's like a whole story about, will you stop asking me for money? So then he goes, so if you really know the story of Elden Ring and like how it progresses, this is a very good retelling. It shows him actually being not someone who can't play. Because he one-shots the dragon.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that happens because he has to find the key to get into the school.
Yeah.
And it's guarded by the dragon, and he just gets so angry that he just kills it. I was like, okay, he's not a wimp either. So, yeah. But like, if you know the guy who makes the prawns / shrimp shows up.
Yep.
And they make fun of him because they're not prawns. Or they're not shrimp. It's like, what? These aren't prawns. You meet the lobsters. You meet Patches again. You meet the girl who asked for the necklace. And And it ends with him going into the school. He met the dog, which was funny because this is the first time he summons the 3 dogs.
Oh,
and they immediately just bail on him. He's like, no, you gotta stay. You're supposed to fight. And he gives them all ridiculous names. But yeah, so then it ends, I think, as he gets past the ball that rolls down at you when you get on that bridge. When you kind of cheese you think you've escaped the big machine that captures you. Okay. And it has the size. So it kind of ends around there. So he hasn't gotten to the end of Ray Lucaria school, but he's getting there.
Nice.
So that's good. It's more the same. So if you like the first 2, this is just more of the same story. Cool. And then to compare that to, I read Persona 5 Volume 1. So this is a retelling of the game. Now this is, because Persona 5 has such a strong story.
Yeah.
This is told as faithful as you can get to the story because there's really no room for interpretation. Like with Elden Ring, it's like there's a story, quotes, but it's kind of, you just kind of do what you want and see what happens.
Who the protagonist is in the game would affect the story no matter what, even though there's sort of a set story to it. And so they just decided to have it be the weirdest bumbling buffoon they could think of.
Right. But Persona 5 is trying to retell the story. There's only one story. Right. There's no real interpretation until you get to the very end of what you decide to do. Yeah. So it's one of those, it tells the story well, but it kind of skips a lot of like the nuances because we have to tell the story. We want to get you into it and get into the palaces. So the first volume ends with them with not Joker. There's Joker as the main character, and then there's who's the guy that turns into a pirate?
That would be Pirate Pete.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know. I've never played it.
Oh, you've never played it?
No, I've never played it.
Oh, I thought you had.
I said this last week too because we brought it up. We're how is it compared to like the Persona things? I'm like, well, I've only played 3 and 4, and I know everyone played 5.
Okay. I thought you had at least played 5.
I think I have it, but I've never played it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of so this may not make sense to you. So it's good, but it does skip around a lot. Around is there's a lot that you would play and do, but all of like the in-betweens is kind of non-existent. It's like there's classroom, but not really. There's I'm walking to school, but not really.
Yep.
Because of the way Persona 5 starts, you start in an interrogation. That is completely skipped over because it would make sense in the game, but it's a slow start. It would be an incredibly slow start for a book.
Gotcha.
So they just kind of skip that and go right to him showing up at the coffee shop. So there's no foreshadowing. We're in the future. Now you're retelling the police detective in the past, kind of what happened.
Gotcha.
So if you play the actual game, as you go through the different palaces, you're being interrogated during the game. So
about what had happened.
Yeah, so you're telling her what happened in the past. So you're actually playing a lot of the game from the past, if that makes sense.
You're playing something that technically has already happened.
Correct.
In the timeline of it, but you're just playing it out, actually.
Yes. Yep. That's the idea. That's completely skipped in the book.
Okay, makes sense.
Then I read Laid Back Camp Volume 1.
Woo!
That was really good.
That's really
I liked it. So there's one scene that I had no idea. I had seen this scene like a million times in memes and all kinds of stuff. And it's probably the one with the two Shiba Inus.
I don't remember very much from the first one. I remember really enjoying it, and I've watched almost no memes from it.
Okay. So there's the scene where the main girl is out camping, and she's like checking out a new campsite, and she sees two dogs, and they run at her. And like this is almost a bird's eye view now. You see one run, stop, the leash is short, and she just kind of smirks at it, and then the other one gut punches her because the leash leash is longer. So like I had no idea. I had seen that like hundreds of times. I had no idea what it was from. It's like, oh, it's from this story.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it's really good. It'll be interesting to see where it goes because she starts to join the club, I think, at the end of the first one. The camping club. Yeah. So if you have no idea what this is, it's a story about camping.
Yes. It's a story about a bunch of high school girls going out camping. And that's literally it.
Yes.
That's more plot than there is in most of the books of it.
Yeah.
It is a very slice of life, very laid... It is literally laid back.
Yeah. Because in the first volume, it follows one girl who likes to camp alone.
Yeah.
And one girl who has just moved to this area who is really interested in camping. Yes. But I don't think has ever really camped before.
I'd have to like dig through the actual text.
Because she's actually...
she hasn't done it much.
Yeah, because she's obsessed with seeing Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
And wants to see it at these different spots, which you can do by camping. Yeah. So she joins the camping club, which only has 3 members, but they need a 4th, so there's some trying to
convince this other main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's neat
they have a closet.
Yeah. Yes.
Their club room is literally a closet.
Storage closet, yeah.
And it's like they can't sit across from each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great funny moments with that.
Yeah. And they buy, I think, a really cheap tent, and it breaks immediately as they set it up.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's really good. It's fun. It's really kind of laid back, as the title suggests. So I'll probably pick up the next few. Check it out.
Mm. It is very good. I've read, I think, 5 volumes.
Okay.
But I read the 5th volume like months ago. So I've sort of been out of it for a bit. It has not changed from where it was in the first book. It's still the same laid-back thing. It's a very calm and relaxing series with really good illustrations and a bunch of random high school girls just, like, going camping.
Yep.
Gives me real Azumanga Daioh vibes, except lots of landscapes crammed between their silly antics.
Yes, there are lots of landscapes. It teaches you a lot about camping, too.
There's a lot about camping, and a lot about specifically how camping works in Japan, as you would assume.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I didn't know that was a thing. Apparently it's a thing in Japan.
Yeah, because we did camping a lot when we were kids, too, and I was like, okay, I guess that's how it works there, sure.
It's like, it doesn't work that way here.
All right, let me go buy my firewood for 180 yen. Yeah. And it's like this size bundle will last this long. Okay, sure.
And then I finished Delicious in Dungeon. So that was volume 6 to 14. It's really good. It's really good.
It's only 14 volumes?
Yes. Yep. It only does 14 volumes. There's another, I think, cookbook coming out, which I don't think is...
Yes.
It's just more stuff. But it's,
Yeah.
after it ends in volume 14,
Okay.
it gets crazy.
Yes.
So how far have you gotten? Have you finished it?
I think I've gotten to 8 or 9.
Okay. I don't, because there's big spoilers.
So I know of the elves who come.
Okay. The canaries.
The canaries, yes.
Yep. Okay.
And I know that the canaries getting separated.
Okay. Yep.
And that's about it. That's about as far as I got. I think that happened, I think, like a book or two ago when I stopped reading.
Okay.
But I can't remember exactly what was going on where I stopped.
Did you learn where the dungeons came from?
Vaguely.
Okay.
And I learned sort of the other thing with the lunatic magician and the other magical force that exists that may also be part of the dungeon.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's also like reaching out to the party.
Yes.
In Vigors. I know about that existing.
The winged lion?
Yeah, the winged lion.
Yes. All right.
Has appeared.
Okay. But you've never met the winged lion?
In person?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think it's just like dreams and
okay.
things like
so
that.
I think I have a rough idea where you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it gets weird. It's good.
Okay.
But it gets okay. I was not expecting it to go this direction.
It's gotten a lot darker.
Yes.
It didn't stop being funny and silly, but it's gotten real dark.
Yes. How it gets darker.
And like real like I feel like this is gonna have a very, very horrible ending. Don't say anything to that. Just continue talking as if I hadn't said anything.
It's a good ending. It ends. I won't say how it ends, but it is.
It ends well.
It ends well. Yes.
Okay.
It ends well.
All right. Well, now that I know it's only goes to book 14, maybe
I'll
only try and
to
finish
14.
it off.
Yeah.
Because it's like I could probably finish that in a week.
Yeah. Yeah. The one complaint I have is that because of how dark and serious it gets, there's less about the cooking as it goes on, just because of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. We'll talk about it. We've talked about it once, I think, already. We'll definitely...
Yeah, we did the first arc.
Yes. And the anime, I think, has only done... I think it's halfway through the books, so it's 7 or 8. So there's more to come. Yeah. So then... Not really reading, but I played Expedition 33.
Woo!
I finished Act 1. So anyone who doesn't know what this is Claire Obscura Expedition 33. It's made by a French company. It came out a couple weeks ago now. It's really good. I finished Act 1.
Okay, you're ahead of me now.
Okay.
Just annoys me. It's like,
yeah.
I don't think you're that far ahead of me. I think I have 1 or 2 more areas to explore, and then I'm caught up to you.
So did you meet the giant monster clown guy you can ride yet?
I just met him.
Okay, so yeah, you don't have much more of Act 1.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. The next area should be the end of Act 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Have fun.
It's very good.
Yes.
It's very fun. It's a great game.
No,
which is why I recommended it.
Yeah, I'm telling you to have fun, because the end of Act 1 is not fun.
I mean, there's been a lot of scenes in this game that have not been that fun, but have been really good.
There's more.
I know. I expect it.
Yeah.
That opening half an hour is like, this is not going to be the only time things happen like this. And then the 5 minutes after you arrive, followed by the first area. Oh, I literally can't say anything.
Yep. And now that I've finished Act 1, I think I finally have the timing down for all the parries and dodging, and yeah, that took a while to get the hang of.
Yeah, it sure would suck if you had a computer that constantly had hiccups and frame drops and input lag.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't make it easy with stuff like that.
Unrelated news, I want to buy a Steam Deck so I can play this properly.
So I was playing it on the Steam Deck. The only problem I've had on the Steam Deck is that the graphics are too good, so the Steam Deck can't handle all the different lighting. So, and a few times it's like, wow, this room is really bright. And then I would turn a corner and it would just go pitch black. It's like, oh, I'm in a cave. And it doesn't do hair very well on the Steam Deck. So it's one of those, it's early, it's going to need some updates. But
have you turned all of the visual settings down?
It actually doesn't have that many available through the Steam Deck.
Okay.
But yes.
All right.
But it plays well. It just looks kind of funky sometimes.
Yeah. No, it's an excellent game.
Yep. But it's very, very... I wonder if more games will do this, where it's a much more interactive turn-based strategy game?
I mean, a lot have over the years. This isn't really that new. There's been plenty that have done it. Like I said, the Mario and Luigi games all did this.
They did do that.
Super Mario RPG did this.
Yep.
Final Fantasy VIII had it for Squall. Gunblade.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the Limit Breaks all had stuff too.
The Limit Breaks all had it, but he specifically had it.
Yes.
Not for defense, but offense.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, it's kind of the same thing.
You could time it where if you swung and hit the trigger, I think it would do extra damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of JRPGs have had that. This one makes it a big part, and it feels like it's more necessary to do.
Yes.
Which is why I say it's more like Mario and Luigi. Other games, it's been more of like, hey, you can get some bonuses, but this is like, if you don't, you're going to die.
Yeah, because I started out, I was like, oh, I've played games like this before, and started out in a higher difficulty, and I'm just getting one-shotted because I keep missing the timing. So I turned it down. I still got one-shotted because I kept missing the timing.
Yeah, it's it feels very Dark Souls. The nice thing about the game is it's like if you die, it just like loads you back to just before the fight.
Right. Yeah. It's your whatever your last quick save was.
Yeah.
I have died many times, but I'm far enough along where I don't have to get the timing for all of them. It's now a bonus just because your characters get more abilities and strength and stuff like that. So if you're really worried about I can't get the timing right, you can kind of fudge it a little, and then eventually your characters are strong enough where they can just take a few hits, and if you can get the timing for the attacks, you'll do fine.
Yeah, I have struggled with it a lot. I didn't play on the harder difficulty. I just did it on normal. And there's been a few where it's really, really helpful to be able to do them, but I've never had to do every single one. So if you can do even a couple out of, if you can do like 1 or 2 out of 5, that's pretty good. For any mandatory fight, they're either quite generous, or the bigger thing is setting up good combos and dealing with the enemy's abilities more than the parries and dodges.
Yep. And you don't have to parry. You can just dodge everything, which is easier. It'll just make the fight take longer. But yeah, no, it's good. I haven't... Good. So I finished Act 1, and then I don't think I have... Like, I started it, but I haven't really done much in it yet. So I can't really talk about it because stuff happens. Yeah,
game has lots and lots of moments that are like, well, this is massive spoilers, so I won't say anything.
Yep. And that happens again at the end of Act 1. But yeah, that's me for the week. What about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've read a bit, different things. A couple, like, one thing that really deserves talking about. A couple things that are, like, I don't think I can talk about. A couple of things that are like, hey, I did this. It was good. Moving on. So we'll start with that. Okay. So I did this, moving on. I read the first volume of Witch Watch.
Yeah, what'd you think? Because I read it when it was coming out.
I'm not super enthused, but I got it on sale. So I have a bunch. It's goofy. It's lighthearted. I will probably read more because I already have it. I ended up liking it better than I thought. I think the biggest thing is it's funny. The entire start of the series is over and over again. Oh my god, we absolutely can't tell anyone that you're a witch and I'm an ogre. And they constantly tell everyone that she's a witch and he's an ogre at every opportunity. And everyone's just cool with it.
Yep.
And it's the class flying lesson at the end of the first book was great. Because you really got a sense of everyone in the class, and it's like everybody doing these different silly things. And then it's like, oh, and there's the class edgelord who just sat in the corner and didn't do anything because he definitely didn't care about flying. And the class this who did this and this. And then they all decided to be a fish. And then this other thing happened. It's clearly very silly. I feel like it'll need more eventually because it's not that funny. But it is good.
Yeah, that's kind of what my impression was. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Lighthearted. I don't have anything bad about it, but it didn't really it didn't make me desperately want to read more.
Okay. Yep.
But I enjoyed it. It seems to have a good sense of knowing what everyone expects to happen and then turning that on its head.
Okay.
And being funny with that. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, because the anime, I think, just started a couple weeks ago.
Beyond that, I read Ancient Magus Bride number 11.
Okay.
I've been reading this before. This was on sale too, so I got a lot of this. But I only read one this week. It's still really good. I still really like the series, but it's kind of in between arcs. There's a lot of stuff that's happening that's either spoilers or set up for something else, or kind of interesting, like meeting the Magus's kind of mentor / mother figure kind of thing, and that conversation, and then the half Medusa student. It's interesting. It feels like it's between arcs. It's building up towards something, and it's still good. I still really enjoy it. I still think it's great. Art's great, all of that, but there's nothing that jumps out at you.
Okay.
Sort of the same as Volume 10. It feels more like the early books where, oh, now you're going to meet this, and this character is going to join. Oh, you're going to find out about this, and this is going to happen. And it's like book 5 and 6 when it's like, okay, now stuff's going to actually really happen, and it's going to go crazy. This is still sort of, okay, well, now we're going to talk about this part of the world. Oh, okay, well, now we're going to talk about this part of the world. Nice, but if you asked me to talk about it and say what I liked about it, I could, but not wanting to just randomly spoil things that happen in the series, there's kind of nothing to add. It's just, it's good.
Cool.
After that, I've got, I read Isekai Tensei, the light novel, Volume 2. This is not Mushoku Tensei, which is the really famous one. This is Isekai Tensei, which is a more recent one. I read the first one a couple months ago. I might have brought it up on the show. It was kind of an interesting, classic Reborn in Another World, super great at everything. But it ended with this huge battle where he's 9 years old and he's trying to save his village full of adventurers and wizards, who, a bunch of really talented people who all just happen to live here, and it goes horribly wrong.
Yes.
Volume 2 just kind of pops up. It's been 2 years, doesn't talk about anything. It's very bland.
Weird.
There's 3 identical sister cat girls who hang out with him because he becomes an adventurer, because obviously that's what he's going to do, and they all go on a quest, and it turns out it's actually bad things happen, and then he saves the day and good things happen because he's super powerful. He becomes an adventurer, and some random adventurers get annoyed at him hanging out with the 3 identical cat girl sisters who are visiting the town, and he beats the shit out of them. And I don't mean it oh, haha, it's funny. It's no, it's oh, and I grabbed his hand and I snapped all of his fingers backwards and shattered his elbow and then broke his jaw on the floor. And then I got to the next guy and I turned his kneecaps backwards and smashed his nose into the back of his skull. And then the third guy pissed himself and then I kicked his shins in. It's whoa, whoa. You did not just earn going from, haha, there's 3 identical sister cat girls to horrific levels of violence in 2 pages. You did not earn that. This is not okay. No. It's just kind of there. And at the end, he's leaving and all these characters kind of didn't matter.
Okay.
I own more, so I'll read more. But the first book was good.
Okay.
And this book was okay, I'm not sure about this anymore. He's just super powered, and there are some interesting fights, there are some sort of interesting plot points, but there's nothing. The first one, even though it's very standard, felt unique. This one feels totally bog standard. Absolutely nothing unique about it at all.
No, weird. Okay.
Yeah, which is strange.
Yeah.
I think I remember from the first book they said that the original story was book 1 and book 2 as a together, but it was too long for one book, so they made it into 2 books, and then they had to expand both parts. Expanding the first book worked really well. Okay. Expanding what became the second book was not a good idea.
Weird. Okay.
But it ends on a point where it's you kind of have to end here, where he's going to the next huge place he's going. So we'll see.
Yeah. I wonder how the next books, if they got the length kind of pared down to be the correct amount, if that will flow better.
more of just like there needs to be interesting characters, because it's like there's 3 identical sister cat girls. 80% of the time they're very, very bland, and then they'll have a fight and they become really interesting because it's like these 3 identical sisters who work as an adventuring team, all using different weapons, and like they have their whole strategy and sense of self planned out, and like one will give orders like to do this and this to the others because she does that. It's like, okay, that's interesting. Can I watch them do stuff? It's like, no, this was the 2 pages you get to see that, and now we're going back to them all just being completely indistinguishable.
Well, they are 3 identical sisters, so...
Yeah, but the moment that they're doing something by themselves, they all become completely distinct.
Weird. Okay.
This is a frontliner, this is a support, this is a ranged. And, like, they have their whole set of tactics and everything. It's weird. It's very weird. It has these small moments of, like, okay, this is pretty cool, surrounded by just, like, completely generic isekai. I don't hate it.
Okay.
I'm going to read more. But before it was like, oh boy, I want to read the second one because the first one was really good. And now it's like, okay, I'll read the third one, but I'm not sure I'm ready for it.
Okay. I'll see how it goes.
After that, let's do a couple of short ones. Creepy and the Freaky, which you recommended last week. Yep. As someone who does not like horror, it is really good.
Yeah.
And it is... So there are certain kinds of horror that I hate. I hate body horror.
Okay. Yep.
And I don't mind graphic violence, but I hate super graphic horror. This is not that.
No,
it's also not jump scare horror. No. It's just really creepy.
Yeah.
But then nothing actually happens most of the time. Or it's just like, you see this creepy thing start to happen, and then it's like, and then 2 days later someone came to their door and they were dead. It's just like, oh, it's just over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is very creepy, and there's some really freaky things that happen, hence the title. But it's not really like trying to scare you, and more of just be like, hey, there's really weird stuff going on. Until the newest chapter. The new chapter. I don't know if you've read yet.
I did, yes.
That's just, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
That's actually like, okay, this is starting to get really scary and weird. But it's also just really weird.
It's like,
and it's kind of like, I kind of don't really feel afraid anymore because I'm just confused.
Yeah.
But it's good. It is very good. The cutesy into horror art is done very well. It's very Japanese horror. It's very much, there are things out there we don't understand. It's quite good. I also read Odor in the Flame. That is excellent. The first 3 chapters have come out. There are some great moments in the 3rd chapter when he's going to get trained. There's this one image. Have you read it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the moment when... So he, in the 3rd chapter, which I think came out since we last recorded, he goes to renowned hero to be trained because he has this flame spirit to help him. And the guy's kind of an idiot and kind of doesn't know how to teach him or do anything. And then he's like, oh, I know. Here's how we'll train you. And then you turn the page and there's just this image of like complete black and his hand is like flying towards you. It's just crazy art, and it's not particularly technical or anything, but it just has that exact feeling of, oh god, he's gonna kill this kid.
Yeah. And he's just like, dodge
and there's
this.
moments like that. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such a good start. So as someone who hasn't read The Hunters Guild and is just reading this, it's really good. It's definitely a great series. It's worth checking out. Then, because I haven't brought it up in the last several episodes, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Volume 19 just came out. I read that. I literally can't talk about it because there's so many spoilers in this, because there was actual like plot points happening in this one. But the martial arts tournament ends, and the least spoiler thing is they have their confession and their romance starts at the very end of this book. And there's a great callback to one of the bonus chapters, I think from volume 1. Where they do the phone call in the bath.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And she actually turns on the video call. They do, after they start doing that, they end up deciding to call each other again, and they both happen to be in the bath at the same time. And
of course.
Stupid shit happens. It's very fun. It is still very funny. It's very cute. It is coming to the end. They have their confession. It's really good. I won't spoil how it happens or why it happens, because that is a big plot point of like books 12 to 19, but I do like in that the confession is not the end.
Oh,
that
good.
was something
Yeah.
that with the shogi one that I read a couple weeks ago, and
Yes.
in one big bump, I don't remember what it was called.
Oh,
Will Ayuma make the first move?
yes, that's the one.
That one had the same sort of plot point, and like the confession and all of that happened in the last chapter, and then it ended immediately.
Okay.
This is like near the end of book 19. It's only 20 books long, so it's not that much to go, but it's not over.
No, I think the last book comes out in November.
Yeah, so it's very close to the end, but it's very good. It's still funny. It's nice. It's coming to an end, and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Oh, good.
I'm still going to skip the one that I'm going to talk about a lot, so guess what? I still have a lot to go, but short one, I read Spider-Man Fake Red.
I don't know this one.
So this is a Japanese manga about Spider-Man.
Okay.
It's basically a transfer student from Japan goes to whatever city Spider-Man is set in.
New York.
Is it just New York?
I believe so.
So it's not like Gotham?
No. It's a
not
real
like
city.
Fake made-up city? Okay. He moves to New York, and he ends up finding Spider-Man's costume in an alleyway for some reason.
Okay.
And it's actually his costume. And this is Gadget Spider-Man. So instead of having the natural web slingers, there's like a mechanical thing attached to the wrist.
Okay, yep.
But he's just a kid. But he finds the costume.
Who's it?
And then he ends up
the
this like 16-year-old Japanese
okay.
transfer
He's the kid.
student. Yeah.
Okay.
He just finds a costume and he's like, well, I'm just going to try it on. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then Spider-Man has disappeared. And so like a couple things happen and like he has to put the costume on and like go do the stuff that Spider-Man would do. But he's not Spider-Man. There's a whole plot to it. It's all contained in one volume. It's called Spider-Man Fake Red Operation 1 or some sort of like suggesting it's a first part. Mm-hmm. And it's only been out for a couple years, but there's been no mention that they're doing anything more. So this might be the end. Although it is a good ending. Like it comes to an end and can sort of stop and just be done.
Okay.
The only reason you'd think there would be more is there's a little line of text at the bottom that says, End of Spider-Man Fake Red Operation 1 or Section 1. But it's a great story. It's like 14 chapters. It's one book. It's like 300 pages. The art's a great mix of Japanese comics and Western comics. Characters are kind of okay, but they're fun. And it sort of just goes, so you don't spend too long kind of getting annoyed at the weird one-dimensional characters that are trying to be interesting or unique or special. It's just a fun little comic. Don't think too hard about it, and it's quite enjoyable. And watching you desperately try to be Spider-Man while not having his powers, and everyone's like, why aren't you swinging on your webs? And it's like, I'm kind of tired right now. It's like, quick, Spider-Man, chase after him. He's like, taxi. And then like he gets like beaten up and like the next day he's like covered in bruises and like, oh god, I'm so tired, I don't want to go to class. It's quite fun. It's really good. And then finally, because I talked too much already, but I'm going to talk longer, I read 2 through 9 of Kowloon Generic Romance.
Okay. Yep.
I mentioned this last week. And so now I'm all the way caught up with what's out in English. Oh my god. Oh boy. I cannot tell you anything about this. That isn't massive spoilers. But it's so good. Oh my god. This is psychological sci-fi.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Reality bending weirdness that's not a thriller really, and isn't a horror, and isn't and like there are tense moments, but it's not super tense itself. Mm-hmm. Like moment to moment it's actually kind of relaxed, but there's like so much going on and so many things, and like every chapter you learn like a grain of sand about the giant sand pile. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's so important because you learn this tiny little bit. And in like 6 books, like, yeah, that tiny little bit was important, but there's still so much you don't know. It's so good. It definitely isn't as... So in the first one, I'm like, oh, there's some really like seinen bits where it's kind of just like, hey, let's draw the woman like drenched in sweat and in certain poses. It's like, it takes a couple of hard turns into josei smut and other things too. Like there's a couple that is like, I can't even describe it without giving spoilers.
Okay.
But like two sexy pretty boys being a couple as like a major plot point of this would not be entirely wrong. And there's just weird stuff throughout all of it. But like, so I tried to think of a way to explain it. And I have a specific thing that I'm thinking about when I talk about this. But there's like, you learn a fact about what's going on in volume 2.
Okay.
You get an explanation about that fact in volume 4.
Okay.
In volume, like where somebody says something about it in volume 2 and they explain what they were telling that person in volume 4. In volume 6, you actually see something that explains why they were talking about that, something they thought might be possible or could happen or could be a problem. You actually see it in volume 6. And then in volume 8, something that nobody ever mentioned, nobody ever brought up, but if you really thought about it, you could totally imagine this being that thing happens. And you're like, oh my God. And it's like, it's not even like the important part of this. This is a story of like, who are you? Do you exist? Are you real? What is real? What is perception?
Huh. Okay.
Who decides things? I think, it's so good.
I'll have to check it out.
The only thing I can tell you, at least now, that I can actually say, this is set in modern day / slightly into the future.
Okay. Yep.
Because it's not about... So Kowloon, I said last week, but to remind you, Kowloon was a real place in Hong Kong.
Yes.
It was demolished. In this world, Kowloon 2 was built. And Kowloon 2 was built where Kowloon was, but it was like a new city.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So, like, if it's not current day, it's like 5-10 years in the future is when this series takes place.
Gotcha.
And if I tell you anything else, it's spoiler. There's so many moments in this. And I think the other thing I really like about it is it's this weird, crazy, psychological, philosophical, techno-drama thing of stuff that's going on. And, like, the people you think are the good guys, the people you think are the bad guys, the people you think are the agents of chaos who are kind of not on the good guy's side, but maybe aren't against them. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Except for maybe one person, and they probably don't actually know what's going on. They just happen to luck into this situation. But I don't know. So, like, everyone's confused all the time. So they're all, like, trying to help each other, but only enough so that they can learn. It's so good. And so it's not so much a romance, although that is a big part of it. It's much more of just like a drama.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's not tense. Things keep clicking together as I've gone on, and it's just been so good. It's such a good series. I really want to say things about it because it's crazy, but it is absolutely a series that the less you know going in, the more fun you'll have.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll still enjoy going back and like, oh, I see this was, they were hinting at it here. Oh, this is talking about that. Like, oh, hey, there's that thing. This is the first one time when they brought that up. That's going to be important in like 5 books. I can't wait for them to have to deal with that.
So it's one where you could learn more if you read it again. Because of all, you'll see all the foreshadowing though.
You'll see the foreshadowing a lot more, and that can be interesting and fun. And I don't think it'll be boring if you kind of know where it's going.
Yep.
But I feel like it's more fun. The characters in it are figuring out as they go, and they're not hiding it from you. Pretty much 60 to 80% of the time, if they figure something out, they're telling you, the reader. There's a couple times where someone will figure something out and hide it from you, and you'll find out in like 3 chapters. But usually if they know something about Kowloon and what's going on with Reiko, they'll tell you.
Okay.
And a lot of the times it's, we don't know what's going on with Reiko. This is really weird. But I can't say anything more than that. But it is so good. Okay. Oh my God.
I will check it out.
Yeah. I highly, highly recommend it. It is a fantastic series. It is... I can't tell you anything, but it's so good. Next time we talk about it, I'm going to have to spoil like the beginning.
Okay, well maybe I'll have read the first one by then.
Yeah. So our main topic for today is going to be Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, Volume 1 of the light novel. There is an anime for it. This covers about episodes 1 to 4, and there is a manga, maybe, kind of. It's not clear. I haven't done a ton of research into it. It's not available in English yet, but it does possibly maybe exist. There is an anime. The anime is in English, but we're talking specifically about the light novel. It's written by Sun. This is his first light novel series, and the favorite thing, I remember we brought this up at least twice in this series before, but on Shosetsuka ni Naro, when he did this story originally on the I Want to Be a Novelist website in Japan, where they find a lot of these web novels, Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feeling in Russian lasted for 5 days. Then it was picked up. It's like 2 or 3 chapters. Now that I've read some more by the author, it sounded more like he did a lot of short stories. And they were like, oh, we like this. Why don't we do this into a longer form series? And it became this. More than he was writing it for 2 or 3 days and they're like, we want this series. I think it was just a couple of short stories and they asked him to turn it into a full series, which it now is. It has 9 volumes by numeration, but it's actually 10 because there's a 4.5.
Yeah, and I believe there's another one coming out soon.
Yes, I think there's another half volume coming out.
That's what it was. It says volume 8.
That would be in English.
Yes, in English.
Yes,
right.
I mean in Japanese.
Oh, I see. Yes. Volume 1 in English is coming out in November.
Yeah, not soon enough. Because
never is.
Book 7 just came out, which is part of the reason why I remember this and wanted to talk about it, because I just read that.
Oh, yeah. Like it came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And I read it, and it was super good. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Update. The manga is coming out officially in English June 24th.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember last time we looked, and it's like Volume 2 is coming out, but there's no Volume 1. But yes, it is coming out in English. But there's also a 4.5. 4.5, if we ever get to there, we'll talk about it. It's interesting. I'm not happy when I found out about it, because 4 ends on a cliffhanger.
Of course it does.
Yes, and this is minor lore thing for me. This was the light novel that got me into light novels again last year. I started reading it, and I've been like desperately waiting for each novel to come out since 3. So 4 came out, and I was so excited. I read it. It's like, it's a cliffhanger. It's like, oh, they announced the next one. It's a short story collection. Dang it. And then I read it, like, double dang it. It's so good. We're talking about Volume 1. I'm going to try to stay on track. I'm going to try to not ramble for forever.
Yeah, I'll try to ask questions because, spoiler alert, I haven't read this.
Yes. And I have thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
And as a series, I think this is amazing. But spoilers on my overall feelings. This is good, but it pales compared to what comes later. We've talked about critical points, and we've talked about like series that don't start on their best foot. This is still a good book. It's still funny. It's still enjoyable, but it's nothing compared to what comes later. Okay.
So this is kind of building up towards better stories as it goes on.
Yeah, and as we'll talk about even in the plot, when it gets to the end of it, it's clearly this is the start of a series. It does a good job of it. I don't think that was ever a problem with this series. It knew what it wanted to do, but don't just read it for this book. If you're going to read it, you're going to have to read more. But talking about more than one book of this, because all the stuff that happens and all the characters, is going to kind of be a lot. And I'm already going to ramble about it a lot because I'm going to gush about everything in it that I love. So we can only do one book. But my takeaway here is I'm going to tell you why this book is good. Go read it and like the next 2 after this, and you'll enjoy the series. That's when it really kicks off, is book 2 or 3. But we'll get to that. So, going through the first couple of chapters, Solitary Princess and Lazy Neighbor chapter. This first chapter is just a setup, which is basically there are 2 characters who you'll meet here. Masuchika Kuze, who is the main male character, who is a self-effacing, low self-esteem lazy in school, minimum effort required to pass, sleeps in class, plays lots of video games type person.
Mm-hmm.
And Alisa Kujo, whose Russian nickname is Alya, hence the title character named Alya, who Masachika also always calls her Alya. No one else does, with one exception, who we'll get to, who is this incredibly beautiful, silver-haired, large-breasted, beautiful 16-year-old girl who's half Russian, who's prettier than basically every other person in the class, and also is top of the class, best grades in the school, and kind of doesn't talk to anyone who sits next to him.
Okay.
And the beginning chapters, it's a very classic anime trope of the hardworking, studious kid sitting next to the lazy goofball, and the goofball is always leaning on them for help, and the studious person is always just sort of deciding to ultimately help them, but also like poking at them and prodding them to do better the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
To simplify a lot of stuff, although the book does... One thing I will say, the book does a very good job of making the characters feel very... While they're tropes in one sense, they do feel like themselves. When I say Alya is a tsundere, yes, that's true, but there's a lot more to it than that. And in the book itself, it's not just like, oh, she's mean on the outside, but nice and kind on the inside. She has motivation for almost every single thing that she does. Mm-hmm. And is a much better written character than that would imply. But that's a good summary because we only have 30 to 45 minutes to talk about this. Masachika's a loser. He's a lot more than that, but it's a good summary. And they will very much change as the story goes on. The last thing to know about the setup, or the last two things to know about it, the school that they go to is the super duper ultra mega prestigious academy that is basically elementary to high school, continuous, super prestigious school that only rich, powerful, or incredibly smart children get to go to. They are first-year high school students, and while Masachika is bad, he passes just enough to stay in school.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. If he's this lazy loser, how is he still there?
He does well enough to not get kicked out.
Okay.
The impression he quickly gives off is he's smart enough, but he doesn't care. Because he's smart enough, but he doesn't care. We'll get to a little bit more on why later, but yeah, he's a smart kid, doesn't give a crap, just does whatever he wants, doesn't try very hard. Alisa tries extremely hard and does extremely well.
Okay.
And the last thing, the other conceit of the other conceit of this entire story is Alya is half Russian, and she has a tendency to talk out loud, saying exactly how she feels about things in Russian. And nobody at the school can speak Russian.
So her inner monologue.
Yeah, she'll just inner monologue about
Russian.
things like whenever she sees someone doing something, she'll just talk about it in Russian. And she enjoys teasing Masachika, but like she also kind of is like finds him almost like a bit of a puppy dog and just enjoys watching him. And just be like, oh, he's cute. But she'll just say that out loud in Russian. But no one can understand her. And Masachika will be like, what did you just say? It's like, I said you're a loser.
So does the book actually do it in Russian?
No, it usually does the greater than equal than signs like around it so that you, the reader, know what it is, but it's like, it's in Russian. There's a couple times where they'll write it in Russian, and they'll usually put a note saying it. But spoilers for like page 2.
Okay.
Masachika can speak Russian. Nobody knows that except for his sister, who he's also had swear to secrecy that she will never ever tell anyone that he can speak Russian. But yeah, he can speak Russian.
Of course.
Alya doesn't know that. And at this point, I think they met in third year middle school. The timing of the series is pretty well written out, that it does make sense. I just don't remember all of it. But they've known each other for a while, but this is early in first year high school. Masachika has overheard her talking in Russian to him or out loud, knows what she says, and has been pretending not to understand. And this is going to be a problem, because in like the next chapter, as you start seeing everything, Masachika forgot to do his daily free character summon in his gacha game that he's playing, because this is back when gacha games were a big thing on everyone's phone, unlike now, when actually that's still now. So
Yeah.
he does that, but you're not supposed to use your smartphones at school. So Elisa takes it away and is like, nope, you're not supposed to do that. And ends up funny, silly, random things happen. He eventually convinces her to give him back his phone because he got the double SR draw Tsukihime character in it. And it's like, I want to make sure it saves on my phone. And it's like, oh, it's like, why do you even care about this? Like, oh, it's a cool character. She's got silver hair and all this other stuff. And I was like, in Russian, well, I have silver hair. Why don't you look at me? And Masachika's like, yeah. Sorry, what did you say? I said you're a loser. Oh, okay, I can handle this. And that's a lot of this first book. Is this?
Okay, this interaction.
Isla says something in Russian where she's kind of has like a tiny crush on him, where it's just like, oh, why don't you look at me? Like, just like daydreamy type girl talk. Masachika understands, can't respond, so has to try to ignore it. And then talks to her about it to pretend to ask what it was. Isla immediately dunks on him, and he's like trying to figure out what's going on. This goes on. There's a couple more scenes. We get to, there's a lunch at school. You start meeting some of the other characters. We have Takeshi and Hikaru. They're Masachika's friends. Takeshi's kind of gross teenage boy, but is very energetic. Hikaru is the pretty boy who all the girls like and hates romance and girls because all the girls like him. And like, he's emotionally damaged from this. There's a bunch of great scenes where like they start talking about love and Hikaru just like has that moment where his eyes roll back and you see like the ghost coming out of his mouth type thing. He's like, not girls. He's just like been broken from all the confessions and things. They're not huge characters, but they show up a bunch. They're Masachika's friends. By the way, spicy food will become a thing. Keep this remembered for later. But the other characters you start to meet, and the thing that this story will eventually become almost entirely about, but not really yet, you meet Maria Kujo, who is Alisa's older sister, who's a year above, and Yukisuo, Masachika's childhood friend. Yes, I'm doing air quotes. Childhood friend, who is also known as the princess. Alisa is called the solitary princess, and Yuki is called like the classical princess or something else. But the three of them are all in the student council. Yuki's the publicist, Alisa is the accountant, and Maria is the secretary. Yuki and Alisa are first years. Alisa, like I said, is first year, along with Masachika. Maria is second year. The vice president and president are also second years, because that's how it works in Japanese schools. Your third year is sort of getting ready for your next school. So the like highest grade year where you are involved in the student council is second. So you can participate in your first year. The leadership is chosen from second people who become second years, and then third years they're helping out,
but
they're not major parts of. They're not in charge anymore. No. Remember that. That's gonna be important for the plot of the entire rest of the series.
Okay.
Yuki tries to get Masachika to join the student council. They talk about him being childhood friends. And also Masachika was Yuki's student council vice president when she was student council president in middle school.
Okay.
And this is the moment where where Masachika's like, after this point where I was like, so you're childhood friends, huh? It's like, yes, we're childhood friends. We've been friends since we've been children. That's it. Really? Yeah, but I mean, we're friends too. And it's like, we are? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Isla, agree. We are friends. Yep. Isla is constantly shown as having the nickname the Solitary Princess. Everybody thinks she's amazing and beautiful, but nobody talks to her. Nobody spends time with her. Masachika is famous because he actually talks to her, and they seem to have like a rapport and can talk with each other regularly, whereas everyone else is so like in awe of her as the top of the class and incredibly beautiful and half Russian and all this other stuff that they're just like she's just seen as so far beyond everyone that everyone stays away.
Okay.
Then we'll just skip ahead a little bit.
So,
okay, go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
So they are all first years, or the main cast.
Except for Maria, but that's fine.
Okay. So is this like the very beginning of the school year?
It's near the beginning. I don't think it's like, oh, it's the first week, but it's like early in their first year time.
Okay. So is it more like you're watching them go through the school year, or is each chapter / story kind of like its own unique little snippet?
Yes, but not this book. This book,
okay.
because so much will be about the student council,
Okay.
going forward, how much time has passed will be more important, and more like school events that signal times of the year become a big part of the story. But this first book, the next chapter is like another very standard tsundere anime thing where Masachika wakes up early. So because he and Isla are on the homeroom team. So in Japanese schools, that means they have to clean up the room and do other stuff around the room that day. Well, he shows up an hour early to school, cleans the entire room, and is just sitting there like, yep, I'm cool. I did it. Look at me. I'm not a loser. And Isla comes in like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty good. And then they get to talking, and Isla, while she was walking, got splashed by a car, so she has to change out her socks. And like, so she starts like taking her socks off to like change out of her wet socks. Masachika, both A, she's a pretty girl, and B, like trying to be nice, like immediately looks away. And so Isla's like, ooh, I can fuck with him. Hey, Masachika, go get my socks out of my locker. It's like, why? It's like, just do it. I'm asking you to do it. Just do it. So he's like, fine, goes to her locker, grabs her extra socks, brings them over. He's like, all right, you put them on. What? It's like, go on. I dare you. I don't want to do that. What, are you, a coward? He's like, all right, you know what? Bet. And it's like, wait, no, I was joking. Ah! And then, like, puts her socks on, but she freaks out. He's touching her leg and kicks him in the head into his desk, and he falls over, and there's a very great scene where he's like, and then lying as if dying in a pool of his own blood, reaching out with a finger and tracing with the blood, which isn't actually there. He's totally fine, but for dramatic effect, he continues to do that. He writes out a single word, the last thing he saw, pink. And I bet you can guess what was pink that he saw when she kicked him in the face.
Yep.
And she goes ballistic, yells at him, kicks him in the head again, and then storms out of the room. And because it's Isla, she's now upset. And the teacher comes in, sees she's upset, and is like, oh, Lisa, could you... Actually, you know what, Masachika, you do it. I'm not getting in the way of that.
Yeah.
In an attempt to soothe her, he buys her a can of red bean soup, which, again, writing is great in this. It's red bean, azuki bean. Like, if you've ever had mochi and there's like the sweet bean paste in the middle, that's red bean. Right, in this book, there's an entire paragraph about this red bean soup drink where it's like voted the school's #1 beverage of why would you offer that here? Nobody wants this. So sweet, it actually dehydrates you. That he goes and he buys and he gives it to her because Isla loves sweet things that much. She's like, I'm not mad. You don't have to give me something. It's like, then just make this be something me trying to be nice to you. And she's like, fine. Takes it, chugs the whole thing in one go. And the entire class is there like, ugh, how could you do that? But yeah, like that's like the first third of this book plus a good chunk of the second 2/3. These sort of very normal high school romantic goofball type stories. And that's another thing where it's like, it's good, it's funny, it's very well written, the characters are great, but that's not where this series goes, even though all these things are still part of it. And this is where we get into the next chapter, which is where this starts to change. What's wrong with little sisterly love? After this point, it's the same day. Isla goes home. Maria is there. Maria can already tell that something's wrong and teases her about Masachika because they're sisters. They've already talked about this. You learn that Maria has a boyfriend called Sa, who nobody knows about, who she has a locket with a picture of that she keeps with her everywhere. And everyone assumes it's her boyfriend, but we know nothing about them. Nothing about them is explained here. But it's just like she's so clearly enamored with this person. And it's talking to Isla like, oh, well, you'll have that someday too. And you get some background on Elisa. So they lived in Japan, they moved back to Russia, then they moved back to Japan about 1.5 years ago. While she was in 4th grade in Russia, there was a specific event. She was in a group project, and basically, like all school group projects, people started to flake out. And so She was working really hard on it. Everyone else was kind of not working super hard on it, but it was like, it's just a school project, whatever. She gets annoyed, yells at her friends. Her friends are all like, well, you know what then? Fine. We're just done. We're not doing anything. So she then throws her entire self into this project by herself. Okay. And then her group takes second. And this just becomes what Isla is. You cannot depend on anyone else. No one else is good enough. No one else cares. No one else will try. They're all going to be lazy and give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to work really hard no matter what. And this is one reason why Isla hates the solitary princess thing. It's like, oh, because you're not really alone. It's like, no, I hate princess. Princesses are given things. I've never been given anything. I work my ass off for everything, which she does. She's top of the class because she studies really hard. She's really successful at all these things she does because she works really, really hard. And this leads to, flash forward, but still in the past, third year middle school. Okay. Their class decides to do a haunted house for the school festival, which is going to be an insane amount of work.
Yeah.
Couple of days before it's due to start, like, everyone's sort of given up on it. Smash cuts to Isla in there, like, making costumes, sewing them by hand, and she's like, multiple puncture wounds in her fingers and band-aids because she keeps pricking herself. But she's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work because this is what we're going to do. This is what we said. I don't care that everyone else has given up. And Masachika shows up and is like, yeah, you know what? Go home. It's like, what? What? It's like, no, seriously. I talked to the handcrafting club. They're going to make the costumes. I talked with these other people. They're going to let us use the bunkhouse, so that we can overnight and we can work on it all day into the night in like 3 days and get everybody motivated to do it. Mm-hmm. I've asked this, and this person to come and help us, and I put this person in charge of encourage everyone. Just go home. And that's what happens. Masachika doesn't do anything, but he basically, and this is what he tells Isla, it's not about getting the work done. If everyone else has given up on doing the work, the job is not to do the work for them. The job is to motivate them to do the work. And that's what Masachika does. And this leads to a bunch of stuff that happens, and this is where Isla, like, saying thank you, asks, like, you did all this for me, like, is there anything you want? Like, let me do something for you. And he ultimately decides, like, all right, I know Russians use pet names. Like, what's your pet name? Let me call you that. So that's why he calls her Alya, and nobody else does.
Okay.
And this is all, like, 6-8 months before the start of the story. That's how we've gotten here.
Okay.
They have a dance at the bonfire. It's cute. Alisa, of course, as the uber competitive, tries to outdance him at the Japanese bonfire folk dance with Masachika. And Masachika can kind of keep up, but not really. But that's where being like, oh, he's kind of cute sleeping there, or things like that she'll just randomly say. That's how this whole relationship got here. Okay. It now makes sense.
So is this story, like, also a lot of backstory?
No, pretty much from here we're just going back forward in time, but this is the moment where it's like, okay, how did Alisa become Alisa? How did Masachika and Alisa have this relationship? It's this. Mm-hmm. There'll be a lot more backstory on Masachika and on one other character that we'll talk about in a second again, but most of the novel is moving forward. But this is the big chapter of, like, how the hell did we get here? And it's like, how does the top of the class and the do-nothing loser, like, almost be the romantic comedy couple, but not quite? This is how.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then this leads into where the story is going. Yuki, who's still trying to convince Masa to help out in the student council, just asks him to come and help with something that they have to do. They have to clean up and organize a room. And he's like, Masa walks in and is like, oh, hey, and, like, starts talking to Yuki like a friend because they've known each other forever. He's like, oh, hey, what are you up to? What's going on? And I was like, oh, hello, boss. I was like, oh, hi. Hi, everybody. How you doing? How are you doing here today, Isla? It's good to see you. Please don't punch me. And so they're cleaning up this room. Masa and Yuki are, like, talking to each other about stuff. And this whole time, Alisa is pouting in the corner because he's over helping Yuki. And it's like, look at me. Look at me instead of her. And Masa's there like, I can't respond. I can't react, but I want to react so much. Wouldn't you rather spend time with me? And he's like, wait, I'm dying. I'm gonna die. And then they finish. And you meet Toya, student council president, who wasn't able to help.
The current one?
He is a second year.
Okay.
You hear talk about the vice president, but we don't meet her in this book. It's Toya's girlfriend. That's a big part of the story coming up. Toya is the president of the student council, is the second year, and he had something else to do, but as soon as he finished, he came to help, but they had already finished everything. So he invites Alya, Yuki, and Masa to go out and eat at a family restaurant for dinner. Yuki tries to convince Toya that, hey, Masa should help on the student council because he's really good. Toya is like, maybe that's a good idea. Elisa's like, he's kind of a loser, though. And Yuki's like, he's really not. He works really hard. And I was like, yeah, but he's a lazy bastard. And they're like at odds each other the whole dinner. And like the waitress is like, hi, can I take your order? And like silly things like that. Ultimately, Masachika's like, no, I'm not doing it. You can't make me. I don't want to do it anymore. I did it once. I'm not doing it again. I was like, all right, fine. They leave. There's an interesting scene where Masa is walking Alya home, and they end up walking past a bunch of drunk salarymen. And one of them, named Mr. Isuyama, starts yelling at Alya for, like, silver hair and looking like that. And, like, Alya does not diffuse the situation, but basically insults him to his face. And Masa, like, jumps in and is like, oh, hello, Mr. Isuyama. I haven't seen you for quite some time. I think the last time was my brother's wedding. Oh, hi. Aren't you doing great? It must be really good. Oh, by the way, this is my fiance. Isn't it silly? Yeah, she's half Russian, but she's very beautiful and she's stolen my heart. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for all you've done for my brother. It's like, no problem. I know you wouldn't want to be out intoxicated, but I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Yeah, sorry about that. I was had a little too much to drink, Bye. Alya's like, you know him? No, I have no fucking clue who that guy is. I just made that shit up. I just can't believe it worked. I just feel like if I'd got in the way of him and said that stuff, he'd back down. Masa hates himself and like doesn't think he can do anything, but he's like, I can lie the hell out of my ass all I want. But Elisa, don't be dumb. Anyway, bye. And then he walks home, and there's shoes at his house. Masa then, after walking out of home, walks back to his home. There's shoes at his house. His dad is a diplomat and is not in the country, so he's been living by himself recently. And why are there an extra pair of shoes there? Well, guess what? Yuki isn't his childhood friend. Yuki is his sister. Okay. Nobody knows that.
Why?
Because they have different last names.
Okay.
Also, Yuki is an ungodly huge anime nerd and keeps all of her anime stuff at Masachika's house. And so she comes over on the weekends to hang out. There was earlier scenes where there was a text message chain, and Masa was like, my dear sister, I have something terrible to say. It's like, oh no, dear brother, what is it? I'm afraid. I think I finally understand why people have this, and now I have a foot fetish. Because this was what the Isla sock thing. It's like, but my brother, you were always a boobs man. It's like, I know. I feel like I've betrayed everything. Also, dear brother, why the fuck are you texting me this at 7:30 in the morning? And that is how they actually act around each other by themselves. Yuki is
funny.
Super nerd, very much like not a princess, talks about random shit all the time, and it's like, oh, by the way, you and I are going to see that new anime movie. First I've heard of it. It's like, yeah, because I just told you for the first time we're going. All right, fine. Yuki is Yuki. She is, yes, she's very pretty Japanese girl, but is also his little sister. Despite being his little sister, they are in the same grade in school.
Okay, just age-wise.
I don't know the details on this. If they're just so close in age that they ended up being in the same school year, or if they were like fraternal twins or something like that. Probably the former over the latter, but it's like, oh, it's his little sister. It's like, it's his little sister who's in the same grade. She is specifically younger than him.
But they have different last names. I'll just spoil this because it comes out later in this book, but their parents are divorced. Oh, okay. And Masa has his father's name because his father married into the Suo family, which is like one of the biggest, most prestigious families in modern Japan. So, and that is a thing that happens a lot in Japan. If like the husband and wife are getting married, but the wife is from a more prestigious family, the husband may take the wife's name.
They are now
okay.
divorced, and Masa has specifically changed his name to match his father's name and lives with him. More details on that come up, but not yet.
But Yuki lives with her mom?
Yuki lives with the Suo family, yes.
Okay.
And because of that, and they've been divorced, I think, since elementary school, so it's been long enough that nobody knows that they're from the same family. But they do know that they've known each other for a very long time.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So they go to the movie. Of course, it's an anime live-action adaptation. Yuki spends a whole page complaining about how terrible it is, the way they do live-action adaptations in Japan. There's an entire rant. And then it's like, oh, by the way, Brother Dearest, like, yes, sister? I don't know about you, but I did see a silver flash recently. It's like, I too have noticed that. We seem to both be doomed now, aren't we? It's like, I was hoping we could escape it, but yes, we seem to be doomed. All right, let's get this over with. And they turn around. Isla's like across the room and has noticed them and has started following them. It's like, oh, hey, Isla, fancy meeting you here. And so Yuki has to put on her normal school act, but ends up going with them to where they're going for lunch. Another great scene. They go to this restaurant called The Cauldron of Hell.
Of course.
Where it's super spicy ramen. And there's things like Blood Pond Hell, Hell of Uninterrupted Suffering. Even the evilest of demons gets tears in their eyes, spices. Isla, who, as we talked about earlier, eats, as they called it, liquid diabetes in a can with the red bean soup, does not like spicy food. But
I would guess that, yeah.
Masa's like, maybe we should go somewhere else. And I was like, what, you don't think I can handle it? And I'm like, yes, I don't think you can handle it. And Yuki's like, oh, I'm sure she can do it. Right, Alisa? And he's like, oh, now she's egging me on. Oh, yes, I'm going to do it. And she basically dies inside over the course of 3 pages eating the ramen.
No.
Yeah. So, and end of the story, there's a couple of more short, interesting scenes, but it's fluffy stuff. Mm-hmm. Isla and Yuki ends up going to buy anime goods while Isla's recovering from the spiciness. Isla and Masa end up going out shopping for clothes for Isla for a while, and it ends up in this goofy scene, and Isla embarrasses herself, but then also realizes that Masa and Yuki got off at the same train stop, even though they don't live together, because Yuki bought a ton of anime stuff, and she's going to stash it all at Masa's house. So now she's freaking out about that.
So she doesn't figure out that they're brother-sister?
No. That I don't think anyone knows yet, and I'm on book 7. Nobody knows that.
Okay. Do they try to figure it out?
She starts being very concerned because Yuki is also like, while she's still speaking mostly politely because they're out of school and because she likes fucking with Masa just as much as she likes fucking with Alya, she says things like, ha ha ha, like, because she's wearing like t-shirts and sweatpants that used to be Masa's. And she's like, it's like a boyfriend shirt. And I was like, I don't know what that means. It's like, oh, well, that's funny. It's like, it's Masa's old clothes. Like, it's his hobby. It's like, what? His hobby is dressing you up in his old clothes? No, actually, it's his fetish. It's like, Yuki, shut up. Stop talking. Stop saying words. So to get to the last actual plot relevant thing, Toya, the student council president, ends up asking Masa to help out with something else. Tries to convince him to join again, but he says no, but he agrees to help them anyway on this one thing, which is Maria, as the secretary, is getting stuff for the student council room, so has to go out and do shopping. And so it's like, hey, Masa, do you mind going, helping, like, carrying stuff and help her pick out things for, like, some of their basic things like teacups and, like, supplies for their student council room? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go do that. And Maria is weird. And the first page of it is her trying to convince Masa that they should buy stuffed animals that look like all the members of the student council. And he desperately tries to convince her that that's not a good idea. So then she just buys the one that looks like Alya. By the way, Maria is the other one who calls Alya Alya.
Okay.
And I think she says that Masa can also call her Masha, which is her pet name. But I think he still calls her Maria for most of this.
Wait, so is Masha Russian?
Masha, Maria, is Elisa's older sister.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yes, she's also half Russian.
1 year older.
1 year older.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And, of course, is also incredibly beautiful and all that brown hair instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've realized I skipped over some other random important thing that I'm going to come back to after this, but yes, brown-haired. They end up going shopping. More goofy romantic stuff. Mus is now incredibly exhausted and gets back, and it's like, yeah, and realizes, and Toya immediately tells him, yeah, the reason I sent you with is if I had let Maria go on her own, she would have bought a bunch of random crap. It's like, yeah.
She did.
She really wanted to. I kept it too. She just bought a stuffed animal for herself. And there's another minor flashback I skipped over, but it is an important part of the story. Because we didn't talk a lot about Masa and his self-hatred, self-loathing. He hates himself. A lot of the details are kind of left out, but there are bits and pieces of he's kind of given up trying. Because he tried to be the best for his family, and something happened, and he just broke and just gave up. And this is about to come up too, because he's going to talk to it about Toya, of just like, he doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want to accomplish anything. He just wants to get through the day and just enjoy things and not work that hard. But a couple other things from his past that he doesn't mention at this moment, but were brought up. There was a girl who he does not remember the name of, who, when he was in elementary school, who was Russian with golden hair, who he would see at the playground every day and can't remember. And it was like his first crush. And for who knows why, randomly started remembering this recently. Yep, this certainly won't be a plot point later on. Spoilers, it's not explained now. Nope. You don't find out who.
Still not.
Oh, no, it is explained now. It is explained at this point in the series. Oh. In this book, it's not explained.
Okay, in this book. Okay, I see.
If you've been paying very close attention, you might be able to figure out one of the things that really annoyed me in this series. It's the cliffhanger of book 4. You're about to find out who it is. Or if you're clever, you can figure out who it is.
Yeah.
But yes, so there was this girl when he was in elementary school who was like his first love, and who was Russian, who he would talk to, and they're like playing in the park together. There's a couple scenes of that. It's very nice. With golden hair, and they would talk to each other in Russian and Japanese. Mm-hmm. But then she moved away. And around this time also, something happened with Masa, and basically he gave up trying anything. Because he was very talented. He was very hardworking. He was good at everything. And then this stuff happened, and he's basically like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I just don't care. And at this point, like, he doesn't really want to work hard. Mm-hmm. It's a minor thing. It doesn't come up as much in this, although I do think it's mentioned. Yuki was also incredibly sick as a child. She's now better. But that was another thing in his past, which after he comes back, he's talking to Toya, and he's like, I don't want to join. It's like, yeah, but you were the student council vice president in middle school. It's like, yeah, well, that's because Yuki asked me to do it. He has a minor flashback of, like, he did that, and he helped Yuki win. And the first thing that happened after he won is he saw the other girl who was running to be president literally break down in tears and cry and run out of the room. And he felt horrible because he just, like, ruined her life. And so he worked his ass off that year to try to, like, assuage his own guilt. And he's like, okay. I don't want to do this. Like, there's other people who care and, like, want to try. Like, I helped Yuki because she was a friend. And she asked me to. But, like, you want me to help on the student council? Like, I don't want to be or do anything special. Like, this is when you learned about Toya. Toya was the fat kid in middle school. Like, super overweight. He decided to become student council president because he wanted a girlfriend. Okay. But what it was is, there was a particular girl he liked. And so he worked and exercised and studied and pushed himself to the ever-loving limits, and has become now this, people like describe him as like looking like a college student, buff high schooler who's like stylish and all this other stuff, and is now the student council president, like, because he worked his ass off for 2 years to get a girlfriend who is the vice president of the student council.
Okay.
Yes. And he's like, look, if I can become student council president for a girl, like, whatever goofy reasons you have for being willing to help out are fine. Like, you don't have to have good reasons to do anything. You can just do them. Like, whether you want to be student council president or general member, it's fine. Oh, I left out the other important thing. Yuki is running for student council president, and Masa thinks that she's probably going to win. Alya is also going to run. And it's like, do you think you can win? It's like, I don't care. I'm going to win. Just, I want to do it, so I'm going to run for student council president too. It's like, okay, sure. And then back to the present, back to where we are, back to the actual plot thing. Toya's like, oh, hey, Masa's like asking about, like, oh, hey, where's Alya? It's like, oh, she's helping deal with a dispute between the soccer and baseball club. She's off working on that. It should be fine. It's like, okay. And he's like, yeah, maybe I'll just go check on her. So Masa walks over. Soccer club, baseball club, fighting because they both want access to the field on campus. The baseball club has had it forever, but they're failing. The soccer club is newer, but they're starting to become really big, and so they want the field that's closer. The school set up a new field near the riverbed that's a little bit farther away, but neither one wants it. And Alya's like trying to convince them, and they're all yelling around her and not paying attention. And you have the anime like hero moment where somebody please help me. Smash cut to like 2 minutes ago. Masa's there. It's like, oh, wow, they're really arguing. It's like, yeah, but I'll just tell them like take a couple days, cool off, come back. They'll swap it. It'll be fine. And then he hears Ayla saying, like, somebody please help me. He's like, fuck. All right. And then he slicks back his hair, walks in, and is just walks in. It's like, hey, everybody. My name is Masachika Kuze. I'm one of the general members on the student council. I hear that you guys are having some problems. Let me talk about this. Okay, here's what's going on. Baseball club, you're going to the riverside. Soccer club, you're going to help them. Stares intently at one of the soccer club's team members, and it's like, well, I mean, if they're willing to move to the other field, the managers of the soccer club would definitely be willing to help them get their gear down there and help them practice at least a little bit because we're getting the better field. Oh, hey, look, everything's settled, perfect. Okay, bye, done. And I was like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, oh, you know, and why were you staring at that like one soccer club member? Oh, yeah, didn't you notice the baseball club captain didn't say anything? It's like, yeah, you're right, he didn't say anything. Yeah, and that soccer club manager, yeah, she's the baseball captain's girlfriend. So, hey, baseball club's going to have to move to the riverside, but now the soccer manager can go hang out at their practices with her boyfriend. It's like, so didn't you just screw over a bunch of the baseball club members by making them get the lower field, and only the baseball club head is getting to spend time with his girlfriend? Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. But this is ultimately the end, and the last sort of plot thing that happens is Masa's now joined the student council. A couple of days later, he goes and talks with Alya, and basically the three things that happen is Masa explains that, no, Yuki and him are just friends. It's like, really? There's not anything more? It's like, no, we're just friends. I swear to God. No. Also, you want to run for president? I'm going to be your vice president. I'm going to make sure that you win and you become president. And they don't really explain to each other why he offers to do it and why she accepts. They don't explain it to each other, but Masa is like, Ayla is a incredibly hard working person and is like this beautiful, brilliant, like shining star. I want her to succeed. I'm worthless, but if I can spend my worthlessness making her succeed, then I'm not so terrible. And Ali is like, has throughout a lot of this book has also been like starting to see like she likes being around Masa and like she likes his help and doesn't think that she actually is attracted to him, but is like, I want, like, all right, fine, yes. And then there's a moment, bunch of goofy moments, things happen. He gets slapped in the face by her for reasons that are funny, but not relatively important, because the most important thing is at the very end of the book, she goes and kisses him on the cheek, and he's like, what? It's like, did you just kiss me on the cheeks? Like, it's a Russian thing. You put your cheeks next to each other and you make a kissing sound. It's like, yeah, but did you actually kiss me on the cheek? Bye. Oh, bye. 5 minutes later, him still standing in the street corner, like staring at her after she's gone. Like, wait, no, I need to know. Did you actually kiss me on the cheek? I don't understand. End.
Of course.
That's the end of the story.
So did they say if Yuki likes that he's going to help her win?
They don't really talk about it. because they just decide on it. Like this, like that last thing is just the two of them talking after school. And it's like a 5-minute scene. And then that's literally the end of the book.
Okay.
That's like the last 3 pages.
Gotcha.
That's the story. And I know I just explained a lot of it. And it's like, yeah, like there's a lot of great scenes of this romantic, goofy, tsundere comedy of hardworking, super smart, super beautiful girl and the loser who's very intuitively smart and can read people incredibly well and is actually really talented, just doesn't actually work on anything. And they're silly adventures, and it's all very funny.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So because you mentioned a lot about the students, so are the teachers or the parents, do they play big parts, or are they just kind of not really in the story?
A couple of parents matter.
Okay.
Moss's parents matter.
Yeah.
Moss's grandparents. You learn about his grandfather a little bit. His grandfather's the reason he can speak Russian, because they watched a ton of Russian movies. Because his grandfather is really into Russia. And even after you meet him, for no reason, just because he just really likes Russia. So he made Masa watch a ton of Russian movies, so now Masa can speak Russian.
Sure.
Isla's parents, I think, show up a little bit, but not for a long time. The teachers are there, but they're never as much major characters. I can't think of any that are even named. They exist, but yeah.
Just because they have to be.
To explain the part of this that makes this so hard, when I talked about this in our first episode, one of the things I said is it's stupid romantic comedy mixed with Neon Genesis Evangelion nihilism, mixed with House of Cards political maneuverings. The House of Cards part is not in here yet, because it's the student council presidential election.
Okay, that's next volumes.
And it's when that comes in and all these things start happening together, that's when this series goes from this is good and fun and entertaining to this series is amazing. This is why it's like, this book's, it's good. It's real good. I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. but it's not
good, but it only gets better.
It gets so much better and I'm double checking this literally right now because I want to make sure that it happens in the book, I think. So when I say this, I don't feel stupid being like, oh wait, I was wrong. It's actually the next one. Okay, book 2. Book 2. Yes, it happens in book 2. Book 2 is the moment where it changes. The ending of, by the end of book 2, this story goes from like, okay, yeah, this is funny. Okay, yeah, this is kind of cute. Okay, there's all these like romantic comedy scenes in it and everything. And Yuki being weird and Masa being a goof and Alya saying things out loud that if she knew anyone understood her, she would never say. But because she thinks no one understands, she'll just say them. But Masa understands and he has to not react still. And he's like,
okay.
And all the hilarity that ensues from that. Book 2 is where the real plot, which we just saw, Masa Chika and Alya will be running for student council vice president and president, respectively, against Yuki. Yuki's running mate hasn't shown up yet. Will show up later. Is an interesting character, but not pertinent to this discussion. You had asked, like, does Yuki care? And it's kind of going into book 2 about it, but honestly, she's like, no, go ahead, do it. You're gonna lose, but do it. And, like, that's what she tells him. And, like, does she mean that? And how does their relationship gonna change because of this? And all of that, that is partially plot relevant, and I think that's more interesting to see go forward. But the thing that she tells Alya and Masa is, no, go ahead, run. I'm going to beat you, but go ahead. In basically the beginning of book 2.
Gotcha.
But also, like, I have no hard feelings against you, and I'm not going to, like, outwardly try to... I don't hate you. Like, when we're in the student council room just hanging out as friends, we'll just still be friends. But the moment we go out there and it's election time, I'm going to crush you. I'm going to destroy you. And the characters in this are so fleshed out and just flow. And the series and the chapters, like, things come up and connect and go back and forth. The jokes continue. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. It's very good. It's easy to read, but there's plenty in there for you to actually sit and digest. It's a great first book, but it's not book 2. Book 2 is so good. And that's why I'm sitting here like, what do I say about this?
So, I haven't read a lot of slice of life light novels, but like Bakemonogatari, a lot of the goodness of that story comes from the dialogue between the characters.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this has that as well. Just different subject, but yeah.
Yes, I would say so. That's a good example of thank you for bringing that up, because that gives me a way to at least explain this to you, and probably over the course of people listening to this, 3 other humans in the world who will have not read Alya but have read the first couple stories of Bakemonogatari. Maybe this will help explain it to you. So, Bakemonogatari is extremely dialogue heavy.
Yes,
dialogue is like its biggest strong point. So that works. Alya is not as dialogue heavy, but its strongest point isn't just its dialogue. It's characters. And so you see the characters going off and doing things, and even small characters early on become important later on, and they're still, even the small ones early on, we only talked about them for a few minutes, but Hikaru and Takeshi, Masa's friends, like they're still fully fleshed out as characters, even for the 3 to 5 pages they appear in this book.
Okay.
That's what this story does really well in this first book. And then in the next book, it adds on to that a bit of Code Academy / Death Note / Knives Out, people doing things that they're going to start in the first chapter that have something important in the last chapter. That's going to be this cool, crazy plan, and all the steps leading up to it all go to this, and this is why they're doing these things, to all lead to like some culmination moment where everything comes together in this crazy plan that actually works.
Okay.
Where like, and it's like, it sounds so silly. It's like, we're going to have our class our opening class introduction thing where the student council members are all going to say hello in front of the class, and everyone running for president and vice president is going to get to speak for a minute and just say something in front of the whole student body. That's book 2. That's the thing. At the end of book 2, Masa, Alya, Yuki, and Yuki's running mate are each going to get 1 minute to speak in front of the student body and say whatever they want and announce that they're sort of running. Minor spoilers, though Alya and Yuki are the only 2 running for president. And the vice presidents go with the president.
Okay, yep.
But they're the only 2 who end up running. And, I was wrong. I just realized.
What?
I think I was wrong. It's
Wrong
not
about
book 2. It's book 3. It is book 3. Shit.
It's okay.
Book 2 is good. Book 2 has a really good moment, but it's not actually the moment that feels like it really goes into the politics drama of high school student council.
Okay.
It's book 3 where the moment that I'm thinking of that's amazing. Book 2 is a different debate between Alya and someone else who hasn't been introduced yet, and things that happen. But it's like 2 and 3, it's like it 2 it starts that, 3 it really becomes that, and at that point then it's everything is this 4-part play of romantic comedy, high school nihilism, political drama, and personal journey of self-discovery for Masa at all times in all 4 directions. And most of the other characters at all times in all 4 directions, because there are personal things between Masa and Alya, of course, but Masa and Yuki, and Alya and Yuki, that are all going on. But they're also trying to overtake each other in this politics stuff. And they're also like dealing with their own personal traumas. And they're also trying to take care of each other because they're friends and or siblings. But also like they're people, so they make mistakes. And like all of those things are all happening at the same time in the same scene.
So typical high school stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but like typical high school stuff like cranked up to the max. It's there will be a scene where Yuki shows up and just crashes at Masa's place and talks about anime for like 12 pages, and Masa just keeps yelling, "Shut up, Yuki. Stop it, Yuki. That's too okay. That's actually a valid point. But other than that, shut up. I don't care about this. This is gross and weird. Do not talk about this. And okay, yes, that's also a very valid point. And then it turns out like also the reason she did this is because Masa had been out sick for a day, and so she came by to check on him, and then this was her checking up on him. But also by doing this, she then could convince Isla to come, and then Isla would be distracted, and she could go and set up something else for her plan in the future in 3 chapters to then screw them over in the presidential election. And it's like all this stuff is like all keeps happening, and it's so good.
And then you also mentioned that they're in a super prestigious school. Does that really come into play?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That's part of the reason why they do mention it in this. It's part of the reason why being student council president is so important, and there's so much emphasis put on it, is that graduating from here is kind of already a huge deal, and you'll probably get into most Japanese universities work a little bit differently, but like going here is almost as good as going to a prestigious university. But like being student council president here is like, in America, it would be like being an Eagle Scout valedictorian and volunteer firefighter that saved 12 puppies. Like, you could put it on your college application and colleges would just be like, yes. You could put it on your like your application to work at a company like, will you be our CFO?
Okay.
It's a big deal because it's that prestigious of a school, which is sort of justifies this whole incredibly insane political drama about becoming high school president. Like, it's not that's the other thing. It's like, it is a romantic comedy, but that part of it, which again, we haven't gotten to yet, but that part of it is not played for laughs. It's played straight. The whole like presidential election and all this stuff, they're not heavy stakes. No one's trying to assassinate each other. And I think that's another thing. This is still anime. I have to remind myself, there's no superpowers. There's no like assassins. There's no like crazy stuff like that. There's people with money. There are people who are very naturally talented at things, and it's almost like a superpower. And there's people who've taught them things that are in actuality kind of silly, and they play it up for laughs. Like, there's one character who's taught themselves to be like air.
Yeah, okay.
Which was a Japanese saying for like servants in a household, where it's like you should be there and available but out of the way. And they took it to actually mean they should be like air and be like zero presence. So she'll just be in the room and no one will notice. And then she'll just say something and everyone's like, oh, it's just you. And that's played up for laughs. It's never used to like secretly assassinate someone or anything like that.
Yep.
While there's a lot of goofy anime tropes, it's always people talking and saying things in a stupid way, but the things they're doing are all very realistic. Like, when someone tries to do something to screw someone over, it's a very physically realistic thing that you could do. Gossiping or making them not look so good in an interview or something like that. But
sounds cool.
This is my number 1 series from last year, and I will say it again, and I will keep saying it for a long time. This has become one of my favorite series of all time. Ever. Period. Anime, manga, video games, everything.
Nice.
Just not this book. This book's great. It's a great book. Oh, it's so good. And it's the first book of the series, and you need to read it. You can't just skip to book 3. But it's definitely a series where this is the beginning. It's still good. It's still incredibly well written. It's still incredibly well translated. It's still incredibly fun. It totally makes sense to me why they bought the series off of just a short story, and it's been so successful because it's so good. But I don't think I would say that every book has been better than the last, but the book that I thought was going to be the worst is not the worst, and I can't think of any other book that I could think of that was bad. Every book is great, but it gets better. And then once it gets better, it's at the point that the scale is now broken. It's like, well, now it's 5 stars. Is the next book 6 stars? Like, the scale doesn't go to 6 stars. It stops at 5. It's like, okay, well, is it 5 stars? Yes, it's 5 stars. It's 5 stars again. Like, that scale doesn't go any higher.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah. So you recommend it, huh?
I recommend it to literally everyone. I can imagine there will be people that don't like it, and that's fine. If you don't like it, if it doesn't appeal to you, fine. But it is... I think if you have any interest in Japanese romantic comedies or high school dramas or fun, entertaining Japanese stories and novels, you should get this one. This one is top recommendation, even if it's not your favorite genre, because I think it's that good. It's like Dandadan to me as well, where Dandadan is like, even if you don't like shonen series, you should still read it, because you might like this one. You might be like, I don't like crass humor. It's like, trust me, just try it. Read the first book. And if you really don't like if you really don't like it, fine. Death Note, even though I have problems with that series, like, you really, really need to read the beginning of that. And at least some of it, because it's so good for a good chunk of it. There's something about this that is special, that I would recommend this to literally everyone. I don't think everyone will like it, but if you told me, it's like, I don't like romantic comedies, I don't like Japanese novels, I don't think Japanese high school stories are funny, I'm like, yeah, but try it anyway. I think it's that good.
It'll change your mind.
I think it might. Whereas there's other stories where I think, like, this is such a good whatever of this genre or that genre, but I don't think everyone will like it. Eden, It's an Endless World is one of my favorite action dramas of all time. But I feel like there's a lot of people who won't like it.
Okay.
Not because I think it's not as good as this, but it's more narrow in who will actually really enjoy it. This, I think, is so good and so wide in who will enjoy it. You should just read it. You should just try it. Thank you, everyone, very much for listening to this episode of the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. If you'd like to listen to us at any other location other than the one you're currently listening to, that would be great. You can do that at either YouTube at Mudai Manga Book Club or Podbean or other podcasting apps at Mudai Manga and Book Club. You can also find links to these episodes as they come out on Blue Sky at Mudai Manga Book Club. If you have any questions, comments, rants, or other things you'd like to tell or share to us, you can do that, of course, at any of those locations, or you can email us directly at mudaimangabookclub@gmail.com. Please do the classic like, subscribe, thumbs up, 5-star review, and all the other things that those places where you're listening do. If you enjoyed this episode, just so that we know that you're listening, you're enjoying it, give us some feedback, let us know. We'd love to hear from you all. We love doing the show. Anything you guys want to let us know, we'd love to hear it. But with that, and to keep it short because we have been running a little long, Louie, what is your recommendation for the week?
Okay.
Besides all the other stuff.
Yeah, my recommendation for things that we don't typically talk about is the last...
Alya Sometimes Hides are feeling it. Yep.
Surprise! So, I don't know if you know this series. It's called Andor. Season 2 just came out, which is the last season. So, do you know Andor?
I know of it. I know the basics of it, but I have not watched it.
Yeah. So, for anyone who doesn't know what Andor is, it is a Star Wars TV show, live action. It takes place before the movie Rogue One, which is about the group of spies who steal the Death Star plans before the original Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, takes place. So the plans that Leia has, that she gives to R2-D2, those plans are stolen in Rogue One. And then Andor is about the main character who steals the plans, about how he became a rebel spy. So it's really good. It's very much about the political side and the, like, how the rebellion started. So if you're ever interested in where that came from, there's no force powers, there's no lightsabers, none of that in this season or series. So it's really good. It does a bunch of time skips to kind of show you the progression of the characters and how the rebellion got bigger and how the Empire was cracking down and how they're hunting down the spies. And it talks about how the Empire is trying to create the Death Star secretly and what it's doing to prevent that information from coming out. So it's really good. Check it out if you're interested in Star Wars that is very much not Jedi.
Yeah. I'm so happy they made a TV show about Kyle Katarn.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Dark Forces.
He becomes a Jedi.
Yeah, well, in the original Dark Forces, he wasn't, and he's the one who stole the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah, they changed it a little.
They changed it a lot.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched Andor, so to me, that timeline doesn't exist. Ah. No, I have heard great things about that TV show.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I was debating what to talk about for this week, but I finally settled on another new game that I recently picked up, which is called Nausea, or Gnosia. I believe it's pronounced nausea, like the Gnostics, which is ancient religious thing, complicated. Silent G, but it's Gnosia. It's actually getting an anime soon, but it's a game that came out in 2022. I can summarize it really quickly. So I talked a while ago about Blood on the Clock Tower, which is a really cool social deduction game. Nausea is a social deduction video game, but it is single player. It's much closer to what you and I would know of as Werewolf or Mafia.
Okay.
And it's basically set where you have these 15 characters, and for reasons you're looping through this set of events over and over again, where these aliens from Nos, Gnos, called Nosians, hence the title of the game, are replacing members of the crew and slowly killing them off, and you have to figure out who it is and seal them away. But it's actually just computer-run werewolf. And you could be the regular crewmates. You could be the Nosians, the bad guys. You can be what they call them engineers, which let you check somebody at night and figure out if they were evil or not. And there's a couple other roles like that, but it's basically just like werewolf or mafia. But it's done with these characters, and you're just looping through these events over and over again. But as you go through it, there are scenes with the characters where you learn more about who they are, and you very quickly find out that you and one other person are looping, and you don't know why you keep going through this, but every loop is slightly different. Like, different people are the Nosians. There's no rhyme or reason. It's not like, oh, well, every time it's one of these people. It's like, no, it could be anybody, including you. And there's a couple of times, so far at least, where I've looped, and on this loop they decided to have the other person who's looping talk to me. And it's like, oh, wow, so this is where you are. This is what I found out. Here, let me tell you this. Oh, cool, I didn't know about that. Anyway, I'm on the evil team. Good luck to you. Let's see who wins. Because whether you win or lose, you loop through it again. There's some light RPG mechanics. Depending on how well you do in each game, you get experience points. You can spend those to level up, which do some certain things. It's not the most explained game. It's not... having watched a lot of Blood on the Clock Tower, I don't like Mafia and Werewolf anymore, because a lot of it, especially the first day, is just people randomly accusing each other for no good reason. There's no information. There's nothing to go on. It's just like, I think they're evil. Why? I don't know. I just fucking made it up. Which is kind of what you have. Blood on the Clock Tower is, there's much more. It can be very silly. Depending on how you played, it could be a very silly game and very funny. But there's enough information that you can mechanically work out who the bad person is if you can gather the information. And this game, it's computer run and it's done pretty well. And there's some interesting mechanics to make it single human player versus a bunch of computer AIs that make it work. Including the individual characters have their own quirks and their own ways of acting. Like, this character just tries to stay alive, no matter who they are. This character doesn't use logic that much. They just sort of pick somebody and decide that they're evil. But if they get mad at you, they will chase you to the ends of the earth, and they will beat the ever-loving crap out of you and get you killed. Like, whatever team you're on. It's like that's just their personality, which makes it more interesting. They're not just random computers playing as best they can. They have their own, depending on what character they are, they'll have their own quirks. Sometimes you can use that to figure out what team they're on, but also they'll act in a certain way, and it's not always like the best way. They come off as much more human, even though they're very, very simple AI and lots of repeated dialogue. It's good, going to probably get very repetitive, but it's been fun, and it's been interesting to see a almost limitless social deduction game that I can play by myself, even if I have my own problems with it.
Yeah, it sounds different.
Yeah.
Cool.
But with that, that's going to be the end of the episode. Tune in next time, /week, I don't know, whatever Louie decides, considering what he said at the beginning. But no, tune in next week for
Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. We're going to do the first arc, which is, I believe, just Beyond Journey's End arc. So this covers chapters 1 to 13, so book 1 and kind of beginning of book 2. So yeah, we're going to talk about Frieren. It'll be fun. Fun for Frieren.
Well, that's what we'll be checking out next week. Until then, have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Peace. Anything you want me to work on? Anything you want to change for the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
You don't want to start recording at 5 p.m. so we can go to bed at 8 o'clock like the old men that we are. Are you going to say it the SpongeBob way?
Of course.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you're not, I'm going to say it immediately after. And that will make it very
Imagination. Just because of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Be right back.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if you heard the Japanese
I did.
ringtone for the Line app going off the whole time in the background.
I did.
But it's fine. We can edit that out.
Okay.
Continue.
Let's see. Yeah, so it's good.